Okay, we're going to begin in a child's pose. If you have blocks, also, I should just say that if you'd like to, you can bring them just to have them under your feet or under your hands. Hi, Beth. Good morning. Um, so the knees, we'll try today, if it's comfortable for you, to bring the knees as wide as the hips and then the feet parallel with the knees. So if it's more comfortable, you can bring the big toes together to touch, which is the more traditional child's pose with the knees open wide. But we're going to try and work, if it's comfortable for you, to go a little bit deeper into the compression of the hips today. So if you can have the legs parallel, the thighs parallel, and then the middle toes pointing towards the back of the mat, and then just start by bringing your belly down onto the tops of your thighs, and then extend your arms out in front of you. And then begin to press the glutes down towards the heels. So for this, you can press with your hands, press with your fingertips or your palms into the floor to actively push your tailbone down in between your heels. And then as is comfortable for you, you can slowly start to lower your forehead or even the crown of the head down towards the floor. And begin to settle into your breath. Begin to settle into your body. Begin to notice the sensations that you're experiencing in your body. Begin to notice if there are any tensions, if there are any spaces that could use a little bit more attention, a little bit more of the breath directed towards them. And then begin to notice the breath as it enters into your body and how that feels as it comes in through your nostrils, makes its way up through your skull, down the back of the neck. Feel the breath as it puffs up the back of your heart. Allow it to separate your ribs from one another. Feel it traveling down all the way to your lower back, to your tailbone. Begin to press the belly into the tops of the thighs. And then slowly and with control, begin to release the breath. And also begin to notice how this feels. Notice how it feels for the breath to leave your body. Again, inhale through the nose. And then just visualize the breath flowing through you. Follow it as it makes its way all the way down to your tailbone. Feel the breath as it expands your entire body. And then slowly and with control, release the breath, relax the body. And again, like this, inhaling through the nose, feeling the breath as it enters. Visualizing the breath making its way all the way down as it passes through every vertebrae. And then with control, exhale, release and relax the body. Release and relax the muscles of the jaw. Allow the tongue to hang heavy in the mouth. Relax the tongue from the root of the tongue, from the back of the mouth. And then begin to soften the space between the eyes, the space in between the eyebrows. all of the muscles surrounding the eyes. And as you begin to soften all of these parts of your face, continue to follow the breath as it enters into your body. Feel it as it enters into your shoulders, into your scapula, and feel these spaces relaxing with the exhalation. Again, following the inhalation as it makes its way through the entirety of the body, relaxing the lower back, relaxing the hips and the glutes, relaxing the tops of the thighs, the space around the kneecaps. And then exhale any of those tensions that you don't really need, that aren't serving you. And one more deep inhalation through the nose. Allow the breath to just make its way wherever it wants to go and follow it there. Continue to inhale, filling the entire body as though it's a little balloon that you're trying to inflate. Feel the expansion happening from the inside out. And hold the breath at the top. Press the belly into the tops of the thighs. And slowly and with control, exhale. Press your fingertips into the floor. Raise the palms off of the floor. Begin to extend the arms so that you're pressing yourself a little bit more towards the back of the mat, starting to really elongate here, working into the chest and the shoulders. So pull the shoulder blades slightly in towards one another and away from the ears. And at the same time, press the hands into the floor. Pull the tailbone down towards your heels. A deep inhalation here, relaxing the neck, allowing the head to hang heavy. And then exhale, gently press your palms into the floor, raise the gaze forward, round through the spine, shift the weight forward. So if the knees haven't been parallel with one another, bring the knees in, and then shift the shoulders over top of the fingertips. Start to round a little bit more through the spine, pulling the tailbone in, pulling the glutes down. And then as you exhale, pull the tailbone up, gaze forward, arch through the spine, opening the throat, gazing all the way up towards the ceiling, towards the sky, as you press your sitting bones down towards your heels. Round through the spine, bring the chin in towards the chest, shift the weight forward, puff up through the back of the heart, bring your shoulders in line with your fingertips. Try to really round through the spine here and protract through the scapula. Pull the belly in towards the back of towards the spine. And then as you exhale, pull the tailbone up, separate the ribs from one another, open the throat, gaze up as you drop the sitting bones down towards the heels. Move with your breath here. Inhale, shifting the weight forward, rounding through the spine. Keeping that roundness in the spine, pulling the glutes down. Exhale, pull the tailbone up, arch through the spine. Opening the throat, gazing as far up as you can. Inhale, shift the weight forward. Chin to chest, round through the spine, pull the tailbone down. And exhale, initiate the movement from the tailbone, pull the tailbone up, arch through the spine, gazing up. One more like this, shift the weight forward, going a little bit further now, as far as is comfortable for your wrists. Make sure you're pressing the fingertips firmly into the floor. Pull the navel in. And then exhale, arch through the spine, pull the tailbone up, shift the weight towards the back, gaze up, opening the throat. Stay here for a moment. Begin to bring your gaze into the middle of your forehead. So really opening the throat and trying to pull the crown of the head towards your tailbone. Inhale here. And then exhale with control, shift the weight forward, bring the shoulders in line with the wrists, tuck the toes, bring the knees off of the floor, and with control, make your way into a downward facing dog. Bring your feet hips width distance apart. Raise the heels just a little bit, bend into the knees, and drop the heels over towards the right side. Begin to rotate the heart so that it's starting to face a little bit more towards your left side. Both of the arms are extended, pressing firmly into the floor. We're working on elongating the left side body here. Pull the navel in and pull the right hip down a little bit more towards the center of the mat. Inhale, shift the weight back towards center. Elevate the heels a little bit more, gaze forward, bend into the knees, pull the knees in towards your chest, bring the hips a little bit down. So opening the bottoms of the feet here, we're on our toes as high as is comfortable for you. Press really firmly with your hands into the floor, using the side bodies to help us extend and elongate. And then begin to extend through the legs, returning into downward facing dog. Notice your breath. Take an inhalation, pull the belly in, pull the chest in towards the tops of the thighs. And exhale, settle into the pose. Inhale, raise the heels slightly. Bend into the knees, shift the heels over towards the left now. Stay bent in the knees here and then start to rotate the chest and the heart towards the right side, trying to keep both of the arms extended. You can have a micro bend in the elbows here. We're trying to look beneath our right armpit and then drop the left hip slightly down. So you're cinching the left side body and really opening the right side body. Take an inhalation here. Exhale with control, shift the weight back through center. Inhale high up on the heels, bend into the knees, bring the knees as close to the chest as you can while you press the sitting bones back towards the back of the mat. Take an inhalation, gaze forward to the space between your thumbs. As you exhale, press through your feet, shift the weight forward, coming into high plank. Bring your hips down in line with your shoulders. Gaze forward, inhale. Exhale with control, drop the knees at exactly the same time. Keep the toes tucked as you inhale, gaze forward, and then slowly make your gaze up towards the top so you're really opening the throat. And once you're here with this arch in your spine, pull the palms towards your knees. So you're not moving the hands other than kind of energetically pulling these two joints in towards one another, and then you'll feel the arch becoming a little bit more intense while allowing you to open the chest a bit more. And then as you exhale, round through the spine, bring the chin in towards the chest, and as you gaze towards your navel, pull the thumbs in towards one another. So again, you're not lifting the hands or moving them, actually moving them. You're more energetically pulling them in towards one another. So you're starting to activate through the chest and the scapula here, and you can protract the scapula a little bit deeper. Inhale, arch the spine, gaze forward, up, opening the throat, and then pull the palms towards the knees. Exhale, rounding through the spine, pulling the thumbs in towards one another, allowing you to press the scapula further up. One more like this. Inhale as you gaze up, opening the throat, pulling the crown of the head towards the tailbone as you pull the palms towards the knees. And exhale, rounding through the spine, dropping the tailbone, pulling the thumbs in towards one another. Inhale, come into a neutral spine, gaze forward. Toes are still tucked. Shift the weight forward so the shoulders are in front of your fingertips. And then begin to bend into the elbows as slowly as you can, allowing the elbows to stay super close to your ribs. Drop the chest and chin with control on the floor. Inhale. Exhale, bring the tops of the feet to the floor. And then bring the pelvis down onto the floor. Zip the legs up together. So coming into cobra pose, and like a snake, we want to just have one extension. So we don't want the legs to be separated from one another. Pull the inner thighs in towards each other. Pull the tops, the inner insides of the feet towards one another. Press the palms into the floor. And then from here, begin to gaze up, opening the throat. Try to look up as high as it's comfortable for you. Pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. Exhale, bring the forehead down. Tuck the toes. Push yourself back up through a tabletop and into downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet here. Maybe bring your feet hips width distance apart if it's comfortable for you. And then press the left foot into the floor with the next inhalation. Bring the right leg up. Coming into a three-legged dog. Rotate the inner thigh on the right side so that the right kneecap is pointing towards the floor. All 5 right toes are pointing towards the floor, keeping the hips squared. Gaze forward, come onto the left toes. Bring the right knee to nose round through the spine and drop the right foot with control in between your hands. Bring your left knee down onto the floor. Inhale, bring the arms overhead. Gaze at your fingertips. Exhale, bring the hands down onto the floor in front of your right foot. Bring the left knee off of the floor. Shift the weight into your right foot. You can bring blocks here underneath your hands, or you can bring your hands into this tent shape. Press the right foot firmly into the floor, all of the right foot. So the inside of the right foot, all of the right toes, the right heel. Try to stay flexed in your left toes, pointing the left toes towards the floor as you gaze forward, elongating the spine. And then as you exhale, bring the left knee to nose. Inhale, extend the left foot, flex the left toes, and then with control, begin to drop the left foot down towards the right without touching the floor. So the left foot is floating. The weight is still in the right foot and your hands. Try to elevate the left hip just a little bit to help you float the left foot, and then slowly make your way up while keeping the left foot floating. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Reconnect with your breath. Your left foot is floating, so all of our weight now is on the right foot. Stay really active in the right quadriceps. Take an inhalation, pull the tailbone slightly down, navel in towards the spine. And then you can stay here, or if you'd like to, you can try to close your eyes. And then, if you have to close and open, that's totally fine. But just to kind of practice that sense of balance and that sense of control over the physical body. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly and with control, bring the left foot over towards the left side of the mat. Open the right foot out towards the right side of the mat. And then pivot the feet so that the toes are facing away from one another and the heels are slightly in. Begin to bend into the knees, slowly making your way into Malasana. So, option to go all the way with the hips down towards the heels. Option is also to bring the knees, the legs 90 degrees and push the hips slightly towards the back. Inhale, wherever you are, pull the belly in, active in the low belly. And then exhale, whether you have your knees totally bent or only slightly, begin to press the hands into the floor. Extend through the legs once again. Bring the feet parallel towards one another. Micro bend into the knees. Drop the belly to the tops of the thighs. Drop the forehead towards the floor. Bring your hands towards opposite elbows, and then just rock yourself a little bit from side to side and ragdoll. Inhale, bring the fingertips back onto the floor. Stay bent in the knees. Arch through the spine. Gaze forward. Pull the tailbone up. Exhale, bring your hands to your waist. Stay slightly bent in the knees, and then with control, bring yourself all the way up to stand. Walk the feet back in towards the center of the mat. Big toes touching. And then extend the arms overhead. So the feet, we want the feet to be as much as they can be together so that we have control over not shifting the weight between one foot and the other. We're equally pressing the feet into the floor. Bring the arms overhead. Work the biceps in towards your ears, like you kind of want to lock your head in between your arms. Interlace all of your fingers except for your pointer finger. And then really, really extend. Pull the shoulder blades up towards the back of the head. Pull the navel slightly in. And then from here, with your exhalation, begin to press the left, to your hips towards the left, and drop the arms towards the right, coming into a side body stretch. We want to make sure that the arms are really straight and active here. No bending in the elbows. Pull the right armpit slightly forward. Inhale. Exhale, coming all the way back up. Inhale, once again, elongate the spine. Pull the tailbone down, navel towards the spine. Shoulder blades towards the back of the head. Press the biceps, the arms into your head, into your ears. Press the feet equally into the floor, and with the exhalations coming over towards the other side. So right hip towards the hips towards the right, the arms towards the left. The arms are straight, super active. Nice, super good. Inhale. Exhale with control, coming all the way back up. Keeping the feet as they are, begin to bend into the knees. The arms are still extended overhead. And then press the heels firmly into the floor so that you can bring the toes a little bit off of the floor. Try to push the knees in towards one another, activating the inner thighs. And then drop the head and gaze towards your fingertips, which are pointing straight up. Inhale, bend into the knees a little bit more, coming into this variation of chair pose. And exhale, slowly begin to extend the legs, keeping the arms as they are, coming into a forward fold, bringing the fingertips towards the floor, and then dropping the hands towards the floor, relaxing the head. Inhale, elongate the spine. Exhale, raise the right foot off of the floor. Right leg is extended, coming into that L shape, bend into the left knee. And then with control, really press your right foot all the way towards the back of the mat and feel the top of the right toe, big toe on the floor, then the right toe mound, and then pivot the foot so it's at a 45-degree angle. Press the right heel into the floor, bend into that left knee, coming into warrior one, bring the arms overhead. Hips are squared, pull the right hip forward, left hip back. Keep pressing that right heel really firmly towards the back of the mat. Inhale. Exhale. Bring the arms down in line with the left foot. Walk the left foot towards the back of the mat, coming into plank. Shift the weight forward, keeping the hips as low as the shoulders. And then from here, without raising the hips, shift the weight back. So press with your hands so you're shifting the weight towards your heels. Shift the weight forward, press with your feet, move even further forward with your shoulders. And then move slightly back, pressing with your hands. Come back into the center with control, drop the knees down onto the floor. Arch through the spine with the inhalation, gaze all the way up, toes are tucked. Exhale, rounding through the spine, chin to chest. Inhale, gazing up, opening the throat, pulling the tailbone up, actively pressing the palms towards the knees. And exhale, rounding through the spine. Inhale, coming into a neutral spine, shift the weight forward, Bend into the elbows, gaze forward. So as you begin to drop the chest and chin towards the floor, you really want to make sure that the elbow stays close to your ribs as possible. Inhale, bring the tops of the feet onto the floor, and then drop the pelvis down onto the floor. Zip the legs up, trying to create that snake-like one leg. Press the tops of the feet into the floor, activate the quadriceps, press the pelvis down, press the hands into the floor as you gaze up, opening the throat. And exhale, bring the forehead back down onto the floor, tuck the toes, press the hands into the floor, transition through tabletop into a downward facing dog. Readjust yourself here so that you're comfortable. Reconnect with your breath. Notice your breath. Notice any sensations that you're feeling. With your next inhalation, raise the left leg. So the left kneecap is pointing towards the floor. The left toes are pointing towards the floor. The hips are squared. Raise the right heel, gaze forward. Bring your knee to nose round through the spine. Bring the left foot in between your hands with control. Bring the right knee down onto the floor. Inhale, arms overhead. Gaze at your fingertips. Press the hips slightly down towards the floor. Exhale, bring the hands a little bit more in front of your left foot. Come onto the right toes. Lift the right knee off the floor. Shift the weight into your left foot, coming into that L shape again with the right leg floating back behind you. The hips are squared, so try to drop the right hip a little bit. Inhale, elongate the spine, gaze forward. Exhale, round through the spine, bring the right knee to nose. Inhale, extend, gaze forward. Flex the right toes. And now with the exhalation, with control, bring the right foot down to hover next to the left without touching the floor. With control, slowly bring your head and arms up. The right foot is still floating. All of the weight is in the left leg. You want to make sure that you're activating the left leg from the base. So your foundation is your foot. You want to press all of the corners of your foot into the floor. So your all 5 toes, your heel, the inside of the foot, and the outside of the foot. And once you start there, begin to then activate through the kneecap, through the quadriceps, all the way through your glute. And you'll notice that when you have all of this activation in the left side body, the floating of the right leg becomes a little bit more accessible. Hands can be by your heart. And if you want to try a little bit here, you can try to close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes completely, you can just kind of bring them almost closed, right? So you just have one little thing that you're focusing on and you don't have the entire picture or your peripheral vision. Inhale. And exhale with control. Drop the right foot on the right side of the mat. Step the left foot out towards the left. And then pivot the toes so they're a little bit more open than the heels. Bring the arms overhead, interlace the fingers. Again, pointer fingers are pointing up. And from here, we're going to lower down towards Malasana. So it's not important how low the hips go. It's more important that we maintain this really straight spine here. So try not to poke the butt out and the chest forward. Try to keep that tailbone slightly down. Allow the knees to move away from one another. If you have to reposition your feet at any point, that's totally fine. Try to keep the arms in line with the shoulders, shoulders in line with the hips. Inhale. And exhale, coming halfway up. Hold here for a moment. Gaze forward, pull the belly in. Extend the arms even further overhead. Inhale. Exhale, coming all the way back up. Walk the feet in so that they're parallel. Bring the hands to your waist and then begin to initiate the movement from your hips. So pull the tailbone towards the back, micro bend in the knees, and then kind of swan dive with your chest forward, pulling the navel in, bringing the belly to the top of the thighs. Keeping the hands on your waist, pull the elbows in towards one another, towards the back, as you begin to pull the crown of the head towards the floor. Inhale. And exhale, bring the hands down onto the floor. Walk the feet in towards the center. Press the right foot into the floor. Raise the left leg away from you, coming into that L shape. Gaze forward, elongate the spine. Bend into the right knee, and with control, as far from you towards the back of the mat as is comfortable, feel the left big toe come down onto the floor. The left toe mound, the left heel. Pivot the foot so it's at about a 45-degree angle. Bend into the right knee, and then from here, bring the arms overhead, coming into Warrior One. Actively pull the left hip forward, right hip back. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hands down to frame the front foot. Come onto the left toes. Bring the right toes to meet the left, coming into plank. Shift the weight forward, bring the knees down at exactly the same time, and then bring your sitting bones down onto your heels. Bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. You can close your eyes for a moment if you'd like to. And we're going to do 2 rounds of a pranayama called Kapalabhati, a breathing exercise. It translates to shining skull. So the breath, more of the focus is on the exhalation, and the inhalation just happens naturally. And we don't take full inhalations, we just kind of do half inhalations. And it's important to try to move just from the space, from the lungs through the pelvic floor, through the pelvis all the way, and to try to keep the shoulders as stable as possible. So we don't want to be moving the shoulders up and down and forward and back. If that happens naturally, it's okay, but try to bring the attention back into that space where the torso is. And it's also very natural to feel maybe a little bit lightheaded at some points with this breath, but that's kind of the point, is that it really clears all of the passageways, and it's very energizing. So to begin, we're going to just relax the hands on the thighs, elongate the spine, take a full inhalation through the nose, and take a full exhalation through the nose to just really empty out. Take another deep inhalation through the nose. And exhale completely. And then inhale halfway and begin with the Kapalabhati. So exhale. Take an inhalation through the nose. Exhale completely through the nose. Inhale halfway. And we're going to do a second round. So just as a reminder, the exhalation is a forceful exhalation from the navel, pulling the navel in towards the back of the spine. So continue at this pace or try to go a little bit faster. Keep pulling the navel in. Continue like this, relaxing the shoulders. Keep pulling the belly in with every exhalation. Take an inhalation through the nose. Exhale completely. And at the bottom of the exhalation, hold. As you hold, begin to pull the mula bandha up, so the perineum up, pull the navel in between the ribs, and then bring the chin down towards your chest. So we're creating this energetic lock in the body called Mahabandha, where we're really retaining all of that energy that we just created through the Kapalabhati breathwork. Relax the jaw. Keep the chin tucked in towards the chest. And then slowly and with control, inhale, open your eyes if they've been closed. Bring your hands out in front of you, returning back into that tabletop position. Tuck the toes back behind you. Shift the weight into your hands and feet, coming into a downward facing dog. Press the left foot into the floor with the inhalation. Bring the right leg up. As you exhale, bring the right knee to nose. With control, drop the right foot in between the hands. Stay high on the left toes, left knee is off of the floor. As you inhale, come into a crescent lunge, gaze overhead if you have the balance. Bring the left knee down towards the floor without touching the floor. And then from here, without raising the hips, extend the left heel back behind you. Take an inhalation here, elongate the spine, extend the arms. Exhale, drop the gaze, bring the hands out in front of your right foot. Shift the weight into your right foot, float the left leg. Coming into that L shape again, gaze forward, elongate the spine, hips are squared. Exhale, left knee to nose. Inhale, extend the left leg. Gaze forward, flex the left toes, activate the right foot and right leg, so then you can start to float the left foot towards your hips, towards the floor rather, as you bring the head in line with the hips. Hands next to your heart, inhale. And then as you exhale, bend into the left knee. Flex the left foot, gaze forward, take an inhalation. And as you exhale, extend the left leg away from you, press the palms in front of you. Inhale here, gaze forward, spine is super long. And as you exhale with control, float the left foot back behind you. Extend the arms back behind you, coming into airplane. Take an inhalation, gaze forward, opening the heart and chest. Exhale with control, bend into the right knee. Feel the left toe making its way to the floor. Pivot the back foot. Drop the left heel, arms overhead, coming into warrior one. Inhale. Exhale, pivot the feet towards the left side so the feet are parallel with one another, coming into a wide-legged stance. Inhale here. And exhale, initiating the movement from your hips. Bring your fingertips down towards the floor. Pull the belly in. Bring the weight more towards the front of your feet. Inhale. Exhale with control, trying to keep the arms in line with the head. Bring yourself back up. Pivot the right toes so they're facing the front of the mat. Bend into the right knee. Drop the arms so that they're in line with the shoulders. Take an inhalation here. Gaze towards your right fingertips. Exhale, press into the right heel. Flex the right toes. Bring the left hand towards your sacrum. Extend the right arm back behind you. Take an inhalation. Exhale with control, bringing your right hand down to the right side of the mat. Bring your left hand down. Pivot the left foot now so that the outside of the left foot is on the mat. Stack the feet coming into a side plank on the left side. Extend the right arm overhead. Press the feet into the floor to help you elevate the hips. An inhalation here. Exhale with control. Bring yourself back into a plank pose. Bring the knees down onto the floor. And then keeping the knees together, feet together, drop the right hip down onto the floor, stacking the knees on top of one another. So the right hand is on the floor. Bring the right shoulder towards your ear so that you feel the extension in the right side body here. And then begin to extend the left hand towards your left toes. Inhale. Try to keep that right shoulder close to your ears. And then exhale. Bring the left hand back behind you. Pivot yourself so you're facing the back of the mat. Knees are bent. Press the right foot rather into the floor, and then interlace the left ankle on top of your right thigh, coming into a figure four with your legs. Bend into the elbows slightly, and then press the chest towards the thighs, towards the right thigh. Inhale, maybe you gaze up, opening the throat. Exhale with control. Bring the left foot back onto the mat. Bring the outside of the right leg onto the floor. Shift your weight back, your hand back in line with your right hand. Extend the right leg back behind you. Bring your left knee to nose. Bring the left foot back in line with the right. Gaze forward. Shift the weight forward. Bring the knees down at the same time. Arch through the spine, gaze forward. Keep moving forward. Bend into the elbows. Bring the chest and chin down. Inhale, bring the pelvis down. Zip the legs up together. Coming into cobra, gazing up, opening your throat and heart. Tuck the toes, bring the forehead down to the floor. Press yourself all the way back up into a tabletop. Make your way into a downward facing dog. Inhale, bring the left leg up. Exhale, bring the left knee to nose. Rounding through the spine, bring your shoulders in line with your wrists. Nice, super good. Yeah, and then round through the spine, bring the knee in towards your nose, Erica. And then with control, drop the left foot in between your hands. Stay high on the right toe. So the right heel is up, the right knee is up. Bring the arms overhead, coming into crescent lunge. Stay here. If you have the balance, you can gaze towards your fingertips. The hands can be interlaced and really pull the arms up. Then begin to bend into the right knee, dropping it towards the floor without touching the floor. And from here, begin to press the heel back towards the back of the mat. Take an inhalation. And then as you exhale, shift the weight forward. Bring the palms towards the floor. Bring the weight into your left foot. Float the right leg back behind you, coming into an L shape. Bring the right knee towards your nose as you round through the spine. Inhale, extend the right leg once again. Flex the right toes. And then as you bring the right foot down towards your left, bring your head in line with your shoulders. Bring your arms together by your heart. Inhale. Exhale, bend into the right knee. Inhale, press the right foot away from you, palms away from you, extending through the legs. Super strong left leg here. Nice, super good. Exhale, shift the right foot towards the back. Bring the arms back behind you into airplane pose. Keep the heart slightly open here, a little bit elevated. Gaze forward, inhale. Exhale with control. Bring the right toes, right heel towards the floor. Pivot the foot at a 45-degree angle. Bring the arms overhead coming into warrior one. Inhale. Exhale. From here, pivot the feet so that they're parallel to one another, coming into a wide-legged stance. Press the feet firmly into the floor. This time, if you'd like to, you can interlace the hands back behind you. And with your exhalation, bending from the hips, work towards bringing the mouth down towards the floor so your gaze is slightly forward. And then press the weight a little bit more into your toes. And to help you stabilize here, you want to make sure you're pulling the kneecaps up and pull the sitting bones away from one another. And then slowly begin to bring the crown of the head towards the floor, chin slightly more in towards the chest. This will help work your hands more down towards the floor. Inhale here. Exhale slowly and with control, making your way all the way back up to standing. Extend the arms away from you. Pivot the left toes so they're facing the front of the mat. Transitioning through warrior two, gaze forward. Left knee is bent. Exhale, press into the left heel, flex, lift the left toes. Bring the right hand towards your sacrum. Extend the left arm back behind you. Inhale here. Exhale, bring your left hand to the left side of the mat. Bring your right hand to the right side of the mat. Pivot onto the right foot. So now the outside part of the right foot is pressing into the floor. Stack the feet. Extend the left arm overhead, coming into side plank on the right side. The more you press into your feet in this pose, the more you'll be able to elevate your hips, creating a greater side body stretch on the left side. You're kind of cinching the right side body, working towards bringing the right ribs towards the right hip bone. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, bring yourself back through a plank position. Drop the knees down on the floor, keeping the knees together, and then bring the left hip down onto the floor. Bring the left shoulder in towards the left ear. Extend the right arm towards your right toes. So the knees are stacked together here, and we're extending the left oblique by pulling the right rib towards the right hip bone. The more you work towards bringing your left shoulder towards your ear, the deeper you'll start to feel the stretch on the left side. And then bring the right hand back behind. The fingertips are facing away from you. Bring the left foot onto the floor. Bring the right ankle crossed over your left thigh. Micro bend into the elbows so that you can press the chest slightly further forward, pulling the shoulder blades in towards one another. You can stay here or you can begin to gaze up. Notice any sensations you're experiencing. Take an inhalation. And as you exhale, bring the right foot onto the floor, the outside of the left foot on the floor. Bring the right hand back onto the mat. Pivot your body so that you're facing the front of the mat. Extend the left leg, bring the right knee to nose. Extend the right leg towards the left, gaze forward, inhale. Exhale, bring the knees onto the floor. Arch slightly through the spine, bend into the elbows, bring the chest and chin down. Bring the tops of the feet to the floor, transitioning through cobra, inhale. And exhale, pressing yourself towards the back of the mat, crossing at the ankles, and then shifting onto your sitting bones. Bring your hands to the back of your thighs, round through the spine, and then slowly bring all of your spine down onto the floor. Walk your feet in towards your sitting bones and bring your knees, your feet, hips width distance apart. Bring your hands down onto the floor, palms facing down. And then with your next inhalation, press your toes into the floor so much so that it starts to elevate your hips off of the floor. Coming into bridge pose. Keep pressing the front of the feet into the floor like you're trying to slide the toes underneath the carpet. And this will help you press the weight more into the shoulders and help you elevate the hips slightly more. Take another inhalation here, making sure the knees aren't splaying out away from one another. And as you exhale with control, bring your middle back, lower back down onto the floor. Bring your knees in towards your chest, interlace your arms on your around your legs and pull the thighs in towards your belly. Take an inhalation here through the nose. And then as you exhale, slowly begin to extend the legs away from you. Relax the arms alongside your body with the palms facing up. You can close your eyes here if you'd like to. Coming into Shavasana. And before you allow your mind to start to wander and think about the things that you're about to start doing, try to come back to the mat for a moment and just follow the breath as it enters into your body, as it makes its way through your body, feeling it, visualizing it, making its way all the way down to your toes. Feeling it entering and making its way through your arms and down to your fingertips. Feeling it entering your body and making its way down to your sitting bones, to your lower back. And then just sitting with the sensations. Allowing the jaw to relax, the tongue to hang heavy. And maybe you invite a small sensation of a smile forming on your mouth, on your mouth and your lips. And allow that smile to travel down to your heart. Allow it to go down to the space between your ribs. And then feel the smile forming inside of your belly, taking up as much space as it needs. And then feeling the smile making its way all the way down to the pelvic floor. And as you're ready, begin to invite small movements into your toes and into your fingers. Begin to extend the arms overhead. Extend the legs with the inhalation. And then bend into the knees, walk the feet in towards your sitting bones. Momentarily pressing the lower back down towards the floor so you feel the entirety of the spine press down. And then bring the knees over towards one side and gently press yourself up into a comfortable seated position. Bringing the hands on top of your thighs or on top of your knees. Take an inhalation through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Inhaling